Okay, today I'm going to get into something slightly different. I'm actually going to get into the starter deck of Lord of the Rings, the One Ring role playing game. So, with that, it's pretty much sort of like any role playing game, especially with the starter set, like the Stormwrecker Isle starter set. I got this package is in a sense will get you started in the One Ring role playing game. So, the box set is actually you can sit here and get at any game store. So this is what the One Ring starter set looks like. So what it does is it comes with a map and like a bunch of books and everything. So for instance two-sided map. So you got like a whole map of the area door where the Shire is and like Rivendell. And so on the flip side, it actually got like a whole map of the Shire itself. So it's got like a two-sided map, one of where Rivendell is, and all the way west to where the Grey Havens are. And so with this starter set, it's actually set in like 18, 19 years after the events of the book The Hobbit, and so it's pretty much set between The Hobbit and the Lord of the Rings books. So what you do is you take control of several characters and you kind of do adventures around the Shire, and so for instance it's got the rule books that what explains all the rules for playing this game, which then the mechanics are slightly different than what you find in D&D, because in D&D you have like a mechanics of for instance several different types of dice ranging from 4-sided to 20-sided, and in this you only have 6-sided and 12-sided. So it's slightly different there, as in the mechanics and how it works. So for instance, that was the rule book that I showed in the dice, and what it does is also comes with a reference book for the Shire itself. So what it does is it breaks down each of the 4 farthings, like North Farthing, South, East, and West Farthing, and it breaks down and explains the whole dynamics of each farthing of the Shire. And also with the third book, it actually gives you an adventure book. So for instance, what you do is you the Stormwrecker Isle starter set for D&D. This one you actually get pre-made characters. So for instance, right here you got the Drogo Baggins, who's the father of Frodo, and so you got several different characters. So you got the Esmeralda Took. You also got the little Belia, Grace Girdle. I'm probably mispronouncing the name. So you also got Paladin Took. Yeah. Good old Paladin. And so you got several of these characters as Primula, Brandy Book, Rory Mac, Brandy Book, and of course probably people will remember Balin, son of Fundine, and Bilbo Baggins from the Hobbit book. So what you do is you take control of these characters and you go off on the adventure books. So for instance getting into the reference books, you have a letter from Frodo, Bilbo going to Balin saying hey, there's something going on. It's been a while, so why don't you come and help out and everything. So it in a sense the adventure focuses on Balin coming to help Bilbo, and the characters I mentioned go on adventures around the Shire, searching for some lost treasure or whatever. So like I said, the mechanics in this is slightly different than D&D, whereas D&D you have 6 in a sense attributes. You have the strength, dexterity, constitution, intelligence, wisdom, charisma. And this one, on the character sheet, all you have is strength, heart, and wits. So your strength is sort of your combat type abilities. Your heart is kind of how you can control emotions and more in a sense, charisma based. Wits is more like your intelligence and wisdom, and so like the way the rolling works is like you like roll like based on like the abilities underneath the your attributes or whatever. So like for instance, like the ability athletics, like if I'm trying to like swim or something, what I'll do is I'll roll like the six-sided dice and everything for like to see if I succeed and everything. So there is a TN or target number that you try to hit and everything. So like for instance, like if you roll like your target number is like say three successes, you roll the dice and you have to roll like a 4, 5, or 6 to succeed. So like I just did like a typical roll like of like 5 dice right there, and I got the like 1, 2, 5, 5, and 6. So my target number was 3, so I got the at least 3, 4, 5s, or 6s or everything. So I would have succeed on like swimming or something. So like that's how kind of the mechanics of like a dice rolling works versus like your typical like a D20 on like a skill check in Dungeons and Dragons. So like the D12 come into play with what's called favored or ill-favored. It works sort of like advantage and disadvantage in D&D. So like you might be like in a favored position where like you're scouting out and like you're on looking for like maybe like a scouting party that's coming towards you, like sort of like what comes to mind is like the scene in the Fellowship of the Ring when Aragorn and the hobbits are on Weathertop. They're sitting there scouting out to see if the ring wraiths are coming to them. So like you'd scout out like if you're in a favored position, like you'd roll these to like kind of help see like if not only you succeed but you go above and beyond your success dice in that kind of aspect. So like I said, it kind of works sort of like advantage and disadvantage in D&D. So like I'm just recently gotten into this, so this is like a kind of like a different kind of mechanic that I'm not necessarily used to, because like being big into D&D and having decades of experience with that, this is slightly different and everything. So like but it looks like the mechanics actually can work pretty good. So even though they're kind of different and everything. So like what's great about this starter set is like and any starter set is that it can help you get into like the actual game. So like yeah, like I said, like the actual adventure book gives you like a quick if I can actually get it out of the box and everything. So like this adventure right here is actually like a quick adventure that you can run. Like you can see like one of the pictures it has like in here for like a part of the adventure, like expert treasure hunters. Like it gives you like a little like map of the area that you'll be exploring. And so like just like I said, like with any starter set, what you're going to do is you're going to take these pre-made characters that you have, like the two big named ones being Bilbo and Balin from like the Hobbit book, and of course they go on to become kind of like secondary characters in the Lord of the Rings book. So you take control of these pre-generated characters and you go off on like like in a sense like a mini adventure to kind of get introduced into the role-playing game of the One Ring. So the One Ring like is actually like like I said, a different role-playing game than D&D. Has different mechanics, and so like I said, like with D&D you have the 6 attributes of strength, dexterity, constitution, intelligence, wisdom, and charisma, and this one you only have 3 of strength, heart, and wit. So it kind of condenses like your abilities and your attributes, and you still do have like the abilities underneath them that like you still kind of roll to see if you succeed at something that you do. So what's great about like just not this starter set and everything, but like any starter set, is it kind of gives you an introduction to the actual game. So like it does come with like little cards that you can use for like equipments like swords, axes, and like it does have like armor like helmets and like chainmail and like shields, like different types of shields. So like it gives you kind of like a good beginning stuff, and of course you got like cards like what role you want to play. So like for instance, like guide, lookout, or like scout, or the hunter. So like a kind of like different types of roles that you actually play in the party. So like and like for at least for encounters and everything. So in this it also has like a backside for like the combat, whatever. So like think sort of like a card game. Like you have like a forward type of character, like a reserved, and you got like people on the side type of deal. So like these cards kind of give you a basic overview on how to do like a combat and everything. So yeah, this one I picked up at my local gaming store for like $50. So like this one is a little more expensive than the Stormwrecker Isle one that I picked up for like $25. So it's a little more expensive, but like I think it might be because it's like in a sense an off brand, because like a D&D is pretty much the gold standard when it comes to RPGs. So even it does have like a competition with Pathfinder, which I'll be getting into eventually. So, but like I said, I think the reason why this one was a little more expensive is it being a little being in a sense an off-brand role-playing game, the one that you might not necessarily have heard of. And like of course, like I said, like when people think of like the Lord of the Rings, and the Hobbit, they think of the books and like the expanded books and like the like the Lost Tales 1 and 2 and like the Silmarillion, and they also think of the movies and the TV show, The Rings of Power. They don't necessarily think of a role playing game. So like this starter set, like I said, is like a great way to get introduced, like introduced to the role playing game of the One Ring. So like just like any starter set, it would be a perfect like stepping stone to get you into the actual role playing game. So this one is like a slightly different type of role playing game, is it has like slightly different types of mechanics, and so it works differently than your D&D or your Pathfinder, and in the mechanics and everything. So the Trinity sci-fi role-playing game that White Wolf did has different mechanics and everything. So like that one I'll eventually get into. So like but like for this one, I just wanted kind of like a show again the One Ring starter set. It gets you into the One Ring role-playing game where you actually play characters, and it's set between the book The Hobbit and the Lord of the Rings. And like what a lot of people forget is that there's like a good like 60 years that pass between the events in the book The Hobbit and the start of the Lord of the Rings book. So it gives you like a wide range of a time in between those to run a bunch of adventures. So like this set is like a set, like I said, like a 11-12 years or so after like no correction, is like 18 years after the events of The Hobbit, where Bilbo goes off on his journey to the Lonely Mountain and everything. So like again, the starter set, I'll show like one last time. This one for the One Ring is great, just like any starter set, to get into introduction into that specific role-playing game. So like if you don't necessarily want to get into D&D or Pathfinder, this is another option that you can get into to introduce yourself to tabletop role-playing games.